Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha, and it's time for part 2 of the Monday Q&A. And this particular video might be slightly controversial, also like the last one was, but let's do it. How is Charles Polquin took so seriously when the info, especially on nutrition, he puts out is garbage? Well, interesting point. That's because in some areas, Charles Polquin is insanely respected, insanely experienced, and has produced amazing results for people. In another area, he is clearly just a businessman who's pushing an agenda purely to make profit at your expense. So that's why there's the confusion there, and that is why he is able to successfully pull off the second one, and more people don't call him out on it, is simply because Charles Polquin is a very well-respected, very successful strength and conditioning coach. And by successful, I don't mean successful in that he's made money on it. I mean successful in that he's produced a lot of really good athletes. He knows what the fuck he's doing. If he didn't, he wouldn't have so many successful athletes from the training and the coaching in. The issue is that on the nutrition end, the nutrition advice he gives is geared towards him selling very large and copious amounts of supplements. Now, people could try to make the same argument of, well, his guys are still getting results. But what I mean, excessive amounts of supplements, meaning he's having people take a supplement that might, in the best case scenario, give you 100% advantage, and then have them take 10 or 20 times the amount that gives that tiny advantage but doesn't give any further advantage, and he's producing the supplements and selling them. It's a business model. Anyone who takes that seriously needs to step back and say, okay, if he is my coach, I hired him because he's a successful strength coach, not because he's a nutritionist. And if you can't go do your own basic research and see that taking these supplements may not produce any benefits, and there's certainly no benefits to megadosing them at the types of doses that he recommends and sells them at, then, you know, you get what's coming to you. But the reason for the discordance there is because, quite frankly, he's a very successful strength and conditioning coach, very well respected, and does a damn good job. All right, next question. What is your favorite lift? I don't have favorite lifts. I try to get out of that mindset completely, because that is ultimately what leads to performance imbalances in people and all sorts of issues having favorite lifts. What I try to do is that, like, for example, right now I have decided that deadlift is my favorite lift, because the deadlift is what I need to work on the most. I need to put the most weekly volume in, the most focus on, the most skill work on the deadlift, because that is the lift that right now can improve my total dramatically to make me a better athlete at my specific sport, powerlifting, and particularly when I drop a weight class. I really need to put some serious kilos on my deadlift, which I haven't been doing. It's hardly moved. It hasn't moved in over a year because I only do one set per week. Now I'm focusing on it really heavily. That being said, my methodology is that since I know the deadlift is something I need to be doing at a much higher rate, I tell myself that it's my favorite lift. And when I get up in the morning and go to train, I tell myself I am really looking forward to doing my deadlifts today. These deadlifts are going to take me to the next level. I need to train them hard. I need to be effective with them. I really love doing them because I know that they are going to help me go to that next level. And so I love the deadlift, and I'm really looking forward to doing it. Even if I'm really not feeling that way, which I generally am not, because deadlifting at a high frequency heavy is not fun. But I tell myself that it is and convince myself that it is, and that motivates me to go in and focus on it harder. So your favorite lift should be the one that you need to do the most right now for your goals. All right, next question. Hey Jason, can you give a brief explanation on how to cut water weight for a meet? I have my second meet in 5 weeks and 5 pounds for making weight, but I don't want to diet into it. Thanks. Well, by diet into it, I assume you mean you don't want to cut fat. What I would recommend is a simple water cut. And by water cut, let me explain what I mean. It's not what you necessarily think. When I did my water cut for the British, I went from 108 kilos, or was it 107? I'm sorry, it was 107 kilos. 2 weeks out, I was 107 kilos. I came in at 99.1. I lost 8 kilos, and that's almost 20 pounds I did it without diuretics, I did it without cardio, and I did it without using a sauna. I did it without going under 4,000 calories until 72 hours out. I dramatically lowered my carbs. I cut my carbs down to 100 grams a day from 800 grams a day the first week, replaced those calories with fat. So that I started dropping water weight, started dropping intramuscular glycogen, and then I cut them to 50 grams the final week. What I also did is that the final week, starting a week out, I doubled my water intake. I started water loading and drinking water every day until I was sick of it. Not enough to get water intoxication, but to really start making a shift to where my aldosterone levels and other hormones that control water balance started changing. So now that I'm dropping muscle glycogen and my body is willing to expel water because I'm putting so much water into it, I am peeing everything out like a racehorse by the end of the week. And even the final day, I was still 102.7 kilos 24 hours out. On the official scale, because I came in to weigh in a friend of mine competing the day before, I stepped on the scale and weighed in. I still dropped another 3 kilos in that 24 hours. You only need to drop 5 pounds, my friend. That's 2 kilos. And all I did for that final 24 hours to drop that last bit was, since I had already cut my carbs down, I just cut my calories slightly further. I cut them down to 1,000 calories that day. And instead of the 1.5 gallons of water I was drinking every day, or 2 gallons, I cut down to just sipping shot glasses, and I drank black coffee all day with friends all day long, which is coffee's a natural diuretic. And I pissed out 3 kilos within 24 hours. And then I reloaded 4 kilos within 2 to 3 hours after stepping off the scale. I was back up to 103 kilos by the time the lifters started for the first flight on the same day of my weigh-in. So it's very, very easy to drop water. For 5 pounds, all you need to do is cut your carbs back. Cut your carbs in half. The final week, water load like crazy, and then cut your water intake back to just drinking out of shot glasses 24 hours out. Cut your food back 24 hours out. Cut your carbs to near zero. And then sugar, water, and electrolyte load as soon as you step off the scale. 5 pounds is nothing. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.